The motorcycle rolled to a stop in front of the school like a distant storm finally breaking. It was not the roar of the engine that froze the morning air, but the silence that followed it. Parents paused mid-step, children stared through the fence, and teachers watched from the windows as a large man removed his helmet and stood there, breathing slowly, as if steadying something far heavier than his body. He had not come to intimidate, he had not come to fight, he had come as a father, and what he was about to see would change the fate of an entire school. Before the story goes any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of standing up for the innocent, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them most. The man's name was Marcus Hale. To the world, he was known by another identity, a Hells Angels biker with a past written in scars, road dust, and mistakes he could never fully erase. But that morning, none of that mattered. What mattered was that he had noticed something different about his son over the past few weeks. The boy, once lively and curious, had grown silent. His laughter had disappeared. He had begun asking to stay home from school, complaining of stomach aches that doctors could not explain. Marcus had tried everything he knew, patience, encouragement, even gentle discipline, but nothing brought his son back. So he did the one thing a father does when fear outweighs pride. He showed up. The school looked ordinary. Fresh paint on the walls, cheerful posters taped to the glass, a banner about safety and respect hanging crookedly near the entrance. But as Marcus walked closer, something felt wrong. He noticed how some children flinched when a group of older students passed by. He noticed how a teacher looked away too quickly when a small boy was shoved near the steps. And then he saw his son. The child was standing alone near the fence, shoulders hunched, backpack hanging like a burden too heavy for his small frame. His eyes were fixed on the ground, not with boredom, but with practiced fear. Around him, a few kids whispered and laughed. One of them mimicked the sound of a motorcycle engine, twisting his mouth into a cruel smile. Marcus felt something crack inside his chest, not anger yet. Something colder, something deeper. As the school bell rang, the crowd moved, but his son did not. A teacher passed by and gently urged him forward without noticing the tears he was trying to hide. Marcus followed at a distance, unseen, watching his child disappear into a hallway that suddenly felt like a tunnel with no light. That was when he understood. This was not a bad week or a phase. This was systematic. This was cruelty allowed to grow in the dark. Marcus did not storm into the office. He did not shout. He walked back to his bike, sat on it for a long moment and made a call, then another and another. His voice was calm, but every word carried weight. He did not speak of revenge. He spoke of protection, of a line that had been crossed. Within an hour, the school grounds began to change. The distant rumble of engines grew louder, multiplying, echoing off the surrounding streets. One by one, motorcycles arrived and lined the road like iron sentinels. 2 became 10. 10 became 50. By midday, nearly 200 Hells Angels stood outside the school, not blocking the entrance, not threatening anyone, just standing there, silent, watchful, immovable. Fear spread quickly, but so did curiosity. Parents rushed in, administrators panicked, phones were raised to record what looked like the beginning of chaos, but chaos never came. What came instead was order. Marcus finally walked into the school, escorted not by force but by attention. Teachers watched him pass. Students whispered. He went straight to the office and laid everything out, not accusations but observations. Not rage, but evidence, dates, names, patterns of neglect. He spoke of a child who loved books and hated mornings now, a child who flinched at footsteps, a child who believed he deserved the pain because no one had stopped it. Outside, the bikers remained still. They did not chant, they did not threaten. Their presence alone spoke a message the walls could not ignore. These were men society had labeled dangerous, standing quietly to protect a child the system had failed. The administration had no choice but to listen. Investigations were launched immediately. Teachers who had turned away were questioned. Students who had bullied with confidence suddenly faced accountability. Parents were called. Counselors arrived. The school was shut down for the rest of the day, not out of fear, but out of necessity. The truth had come too close to be ignored. News spread fast. By evening, the story had reached every corner of the town. Some spoke in disbelief, others in judgment, but many spoke with gratitude. Messages began to pour in from parents whose children had suffered in silence, from adults who wished someone had shown up for them when they were young, from people who realized that protection does not always wear a uniform or a smile. Marcus's son went home that day with his father, riding behind him, arms wrapped tight around a back that suddenly felt like the safest place in the world. For the first time in weeks, he slept without nightmares. The days that followed were not simple. Healing never is. But changes came, new policies, mandatory oversight, training programs, most importantly, a culture shift. Children began speaking up. Teachers began listening. The presence of those bikers on that day became a reminder etched into memory that silence has consequences, and courage can come from the most unexpected places. As the school reopened, Marcus returned once more, not with an army but alone. He stood outside the gate, watching his son walk in with his head held higher than before. There were still scars, invisible but real, yet there was also something new: trust. Before this story ends, we ask you something special. Please comment below with a single word that represents what this story made you feel: hope, anger, strength, or healing. Your words matter more than you think. Marcus never asked for thanks. The Hell's Angels never asked for recognition. They rode away quietly, engines fading into the distance, leaving behind something far more powerful than fear: a lesson. That day proved that being a father is not about who you were, but who you choose to be when it matters most. And if this story touched your heart, if it made you believe even a little more in standing up for the vulnerable and protecting the innocent, please like the video, share it with others, and stay connected to the channel. Your engagement helps these stories reach those who may need courage the most right now.